And if you do hear some squeaking noise from my car, it just means that my car is getting old and the upper control arms need to be replaced. So this just started happening like a week ago or two, and this is a common issue with cars. And I've had friends, I have friends who have had theirs replaced already, and now it's my turn. So my car is at 59,911 miles, so just around 60,000 miles when I have to get them replaced.
Hey, I'm Joy. A few weeks ago, I noticed that my car started to make creaking and squeaking noises, and they got louder and louder and louder. Well, my car is having its 6th-year anniversary in July, and I just hit 60,000 miles on my car. I remember that my friends who have had higher mileages on their Tesla have told me before, if I ever hear these noises, it means that my upper control arms will need to be replaced. Keep in mind that this happens to all cars with age and not just Tesla. So I went on X and sent out a poll asking people how much they've spent on replacing their upper control arms and where they've done it. Well, the pricing came back in a variety of ranges. It went from a couple $100 to $1,200, $2,300. And during this research, I also found out that my lower control arms might also need to be replaced if they are getting worn out as well. So instead of taking my car into my local Tesla service center, which is completely booked up, I decided to take it to a third-party mechanic that specializes in Teslas. I took it to Parts 3 Express and had my good friend Wilson take a look at it. And this is what Wilson has to say.
Okay, so what is happening with my car, Wilson?
All right, Joy. So we got a couple of issues. The car has roughly 60,000 miles, so a lot of suspension noise in the front. Very common on these cars. This is what we call the front upper control arm. You'll see that this goop on here, this is a Tesla quote-unquote recall. This is their kind of fix for it. Basically, this is what we call the ball joint. This ball joint has gone bad. Water and moisture has gone in. There's rust in there. There's supposed to be grease, and it's supposed to rotate freely. Right now, because of the dried up grease, rust in there, as you turn the wheel, it's very noisy. So you'll hear some of the squeaking that Joy can probably do a little take for you as the car's on the ground. It's more noticeable. So unfortunately, the fix is just to replace this front upper control arm with a new one, and that will get rid of all the squeaking that's going on. Secondarily, this is the bottom of the suspension. This is what we call the compliance arm. So as I see, if I point my pointer there, there's a big tear in this compliance arm. You see this big rubber has a big tear in it.
Yes, I do see that.
So that particular arm controls forward and back movement of this front wheel. So as you brake and accelerate, this is the bushing that really controls the movement. So right now it's probably pretty sloppy. And the thing with these is it tears over time. So it's not like you wake up one day, you're like, wow, my car feels really funny. It's just a gradual degradation of control of the car. And then also to my other side, this is the forward control arm. So you'll see as I turn this wheel, and once again, my pointer, you'll see this bushing is all torn here too. See this rubber is all torn on this?
Yep.
So this forward bushing then controls steering input. So left and right on the steering wheel, that's what that arm does. So there's a couple of options we can do to resolve all that. Like I said, this was just a replacement front upper control arm. There's some aftermarket bushings that go in there. But really, if you're just a street-driven car, I don't think Tesla Story is going to hot rod this car. We're just going to recommend a factory arm replacement. That'll get us another 60,000 miles, and we'll call it a day. This forward arm, Mountain Pass Performance makes an aftermarket spherical bearing that gets rid of the rubber, basically. So Tesla Joy will actually get better steering response, and then the new MPP bearing is what we consider lifetime bearing for her use. She'll never wear that out, so that'll be the last time she's going to have to address that. So that's what we would recommend for her in terms of getting all the front end noise and suspension back to factory spec and even a little bit better.
Oh, by the way, if you're thinking about selling your used Tesla and you're unsure of what is a fair price to ask, log on to recurrentauto.com and generate a completely free report on your car's battery and real-world range information with an estimated market value on your Tesla. It is completely free and you'll get a lot of insights into how your car performs and how much it should be selling for. So log on to recurrentauto.com now. Well, I could just replace the upper control arms in order to get rid of that loud, annoying, embarrassing creaking sound and call it a day, since the upper control arms are the cheapest part out of the whole set. However, I found out that if later on I need to replace the lower arms bushings and the compliance arms, they will need to be realigned again, which is an additional fee. So, since they are getting worn out, I decided to just go ahead and get all of them replaced in one shot and just pay that realignment fee this one time. I am also happy to hear that the lower arms bushings, which is the most expensive part out of this whole set, whether it's third party or Tesla, the aftermarket part by Mountain Pass has a different design that could last me for the entire duration for the rest of my Model 3 ownership, and I won't have to worry about it. So, Parts 3 Express quoted me $400 for the compliance arms, parts and labor. Lower control arm bushings replaced with Mountain Pass lower control arm bearings, $500 parts and labor. Front upper control arms, and this will be Tesla parts, they are charging $400 parts and labors, plus alignment for $150. So I am looking at a total of $1,450 for this whole set. I know it is a lot of money. However, if I think back on my first 5-year ownership, the only maintenance that I've done really was to change out a set of tires for like $760. And if I replace these control arms for $1,400, the upper and the compliance arms will last me for another 60,000 miles. And then the lower one, which is the most expensive one, has a lifetime guarantee. So for the $1,400, I think it's worth it for me to just go ahead and change them all out in one shot. Now, I have not had them replaced yet at the shooting of this video because the upper control arms are back ordered from Tesla. And the reason being, a lot of Tesla cars are up to age now and they are hitting the 40,000 to 60,000 miles mark. That's when the creaking noises will start happening. So a lot of cars are getting them replaced right now. They are back ordered for a week and I have an appointment to go get them replaced next week. So for the time being, Wilson greased up my upper control arms, which is actually a recall bulletin that Tesla had as a temporary solution to get rid of that annoying squeaking and creaking noises. So he greased up my upper control arms. Unfortunately, my upper control arms are so bad right now that greasing solution only lasted less than 24 hours. So the very next day after I left Parts 3 Express, those noises returned and they got louder and louder and louder again. And a few days later, now, today, even today, when I drove it, it's back to that annoying and embarrassing level of noise. If you started hearing this type of noises with your Tesla, make sure that you book a service appointment or find a mechanic around you, close to you, that specializes in Tesla, or other mechanics that would take Tesla cars and get those upper arms, lower arms, and compliance arms checked out and get them replaced. So I hope this video has been helpful with your Tesla ownership experience. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.